on this episode of the My Friend Had a Baby podcast.
And I was just like, stumbled home. There was no food in the house at all, except for like this half a packet of Tim Tams. So I took it home and then I got into bed and obviously I blacked out and rolled around on them.
There's also lots of rude words.
My friend had a baby, now he don't sleep no more. Waves crash in his eyes, tides on the nursery floor. Oh, my friend had a baby.
I don't know. Or, you know when you're hung and
Hungover or hung?
hungover and like all your joints just hurt.
Just everything hurts.
It's like a new thing for me now. It's like I get up and I feel like passably fine in the morning. Like I can hold it together pretty well. Then my joints just start hurt. It's like they're full of acid.
Oh, really?
It's like click around.
You're at a wonderful stage where you can be hungover and relax for the entirety of the next day. You cannot do that with children. I'm telling you right now, because I have made that mistake on so many occasions where I've happily enjoyed myself merrily the evening before, and then at 7 o'clock, 6:30 the next morning, I'm changing a nappy and holding back a vommy. It's a very, very dangerous thing.
I did think about that today when we went, because I needed sustenance, and obviously nothing in the house would cut it. And because wifey is not drinking at the moment, she has absolutely zero empathy or tolerance for binge ordering shit off Uber Eats. So she's like, if you're going to eat shit, you have to take me out. You have to take me out for lunch. And I was like, all right, well, let's go and get Korean food, because that's like just deep fried chickeny goodness. And we went to the Korean restaurant, well, one of the Korean places around Hobart. It's fucking awesome. And yeah, I'm sitting there, and it dawned on me as I was ordering all that food, there's got to be a point, and it was a
lot of
embarrassing amount of food. And it just dawned on me. I was like, fuck, there's going to be a kid here at this time. Like, I have no patience when I'm hungover. Like the brief window of time between ordering food and it coming, because it's all deep fried and a lot of it's pre-prepared, was torture for me. And I think having a child there screaming at me at the same time would be enough for me to just yeet that kid into the River Derwent.
One thing I wanted to talk about quickly before we get stuck into today's theme was any feedback that we've had from people over the last couple of weeks, because I've had a range of feedback. Everyone generally is really excited about the podcast. I did have a moment when we were playing it in the car the other day with all the kids in the family. My kids rather, in our family, in the car. Wife was in the car. She'd been listening to the episode. We fired it up, and you know how podcasts, or where if you listen to music in the car, it would just automatically play. The first thing that came out as the episode came on, and your voice came booming across the radio with "masturbation chamber," and we're like, well, let's pause that. So we'll finish that without the kids in the car soon, because they probably don't want to. Well, look, not yet. We'll get there eventually.
The day that your children turn around to you and say they want to hear about the masturbation chamber, the masturbation station that I was in, you need to have a real stiff talk to your kids.
Yeah, well, no, that's very true.
Feedback has primarily been positive. I've had a couple of I listened to you shit on all day. Why would I spend my personal time listening to you? Comments from some people that I work with. But yeah, generally positive. I actually had my friend Nathan, because obviously we're at that stage of the podcasting experience where it's all friends and family that are listening to it before we obviously become
massive
mega stars of the pod world.
Yes.
But I don't know if he was drunk when he sent it through or whatnot, because it sort of hops around between feedback and some kind of boat motor he's going to buy and so forth. Most of his feedback is just aggressively aimed at me and it's quite personal and hurtful, so I'll skim around some of those points. He's a father of 4, 2 genetic, 2 brought into the mix, and he's kindly volunteered his time to talk about marrying into a relationship where there are kids already while he also has kids, so it's sort of like a bit of a Australian Brady Bunch kind of
Yeah,
situation
right.
that's going on there.
Wow.
He's agreed that blokes are useless. We need to be good servants. He's encouraged us to recognize that dads are essentially biological security cameras.
Hang on, biological security cameras. As
I
in,
assume that means like we're just not mechanical. I think the biology is us.
right. Or so we're just on hand as security? Is that the kind of thing that he's sort
I
of...
think so. I think that's what he's getting at. I don't know. We'll drag him on here and we'll grill him about it. We'll
So
ask him about
we're
it.
purely observant. Is that what he's saying? It's like in terms of how much effort we put in. Oh, I like to think I put a lot of effort into my dadding. But okay, well, maybe let's not discuss it too much, and we'll raise it with him if he decides to join us one day, and we can go from there. That's probably a good
Sounds
thing.
like a plan.
I have one of my colleagues who sits near me at work. Bless her heart, Yenti. English is not her first language. And she's one of the first people I told about the podcast. And I just gave her some warnings about, look, we're pretty open. We're pretty sort of honest about how we feel about, a lot of things and a lot of things we talk about. And she's a church on Sunday kind of lady. And I said, look, the last 20 minutes, maybe I'm just giving you a heads up. There's some pretty loose terminology in there. There's some pretty open and honest conversations. And, bless her heart, she really got stuck into it. She said that she enjoyed it. She had to stop it a few times just to maybe wait till the next day to continue.
That's exactly what you want the feedback to be, is I can't consume it in one sitting. it's
We're like a big schnitzel.
man.
Maybe that's what it is.
yeah, like your schnitty box. Yeah.
She said that probably one of the more difficult things was the Australianism of it, and I was quite proud of that. How we probably didn't even realise that we didn't.
Just alienating parts of the audience. Perfect.
Yeah, why not?
That's good.
But I think it's good that we're encouraging people to listen, no matter their background. I guess, and that's the whole point of it, is that they should feel comfortable listening to us, despite the kind of stories we talk about.
This is a safe place. All are welcome, regardless of age, gender, background, etc., etc., etc. With child, without child,
Well,
interest in child. You could just use this as like a bit of a peep show into the world that you have actively avoided, if you want.
Why
just
not?
to reassure that your decisions were correct as you watch, as you listen to a guy who has already gone fully mad at another guy slowly entering insanity over the next couple of years.
Yep.
I assume we'll do this for a couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. And assuming that we don't get in trouble for it either, because I do have some corrections from my wife.
boy.
She had a listen. She was like, Alex, I just want to straighten out a few things. The main thing was that I mentioned that our daughter was pulled out, and she was very stern on the point. I was like, no, she was pushed out. There was a lot of effort involved, and there was no manual assistance. Apparently, to pull me out, there was salad servers and there was obstetricians holding, foot up on the end of the bed, pulling me out by my giant head. But to her credit, my wife, she pushed out both of our children on her own. Yeah, I saw things.
That's actually, I just want to sort of sit on that for a minute, because that's a really valid and I think really important thing that I think as men probably overlook, that those little comments could be taken offensively. We sort of flippantly say, I was pulled out or shat the kid out or whatever it might be. That's how I'm going to describe the birth of our one. I just shut it out. Cue the years and years of black eyes that I'll get for that.
Yeah.
And well deserved. As someone who is not doing said pushing, we can make those, well, we shouldn't, but we can. And, that's going to be potentially taken poorly. So we'll be mindful of our language. I think we're learning a whole new area of, I suppose, trying to be more sensitive about language.
Yeah,
as well,
especially when we're not
dealing with parents.
Especially when we're not the ones pushing a watermelon out of our bits.
Yeah, they're pushing the watermelon through the lemon, isn't it? Isn't that the comparison?
Potentially. I have
us peeing out a golf ball.
Oh no.
Yeah, think about that.
I want to get a guest on at some point who can talk about the mechanics of birth when it happens, because I remember going to a physio or a chiro at the time, and this must have been just before we had our first, and they were talking about the magic of childbirth and what happens in the canal when it all opens up. Just everything expands and opens, and having seen it, I now believe it.
That sounds a bit like you were talking to a maybe pelvic floor physio at that point.
Well,
Not a chiro. Please tell me you didn't go to a chiropractor to prepare for children. Why don't you get your snap, crackle, pop to...
No. My wife wasn't going to a chiro for the snap, crackle, pop of birth. No, it was me just getting something realigned. I don't know. Did you know that I caught both the kids on their way out? I was
Really?
down the business end. I was there.
I wouldn't mind being down there myself. Wifey's not entirely sure about me being down there. You know, she's like, no, you were down there one time now, and there's a baby there now. So one time I let you down there.
We had that discussion as she was actively pushing, and the obstetrician asked, "Oh, so are you ready to? This is going to happen pretty quickly. Are you happy to help me catch the baby?" I sort of said to my wife, "Are you comfortable with me doing all of that?" And she was like, yeah, yep, sure, yep, that sounds great." And so it was a dual effort with me and the obstetrician, and we caught that slippery little sucker, and everything was successful. Didn't drop the kid. It was a good start.
Did you do the snip of the cord?
I think.
Did they do that? Is that a thing? I always
yeah.
assumed that was just part of the experience. Like
No. I was offered the opportunity to cut the umbilical cord. I had buried that memory. Yes, I was offered to do it, and I remember it being much tougher than I expected, like really firm. So I thought that was quite interesting.
It's kind of reassuring as well. It'd be a little bit worrying if it was just like
Some flimsy little
comfortably
thing.
sheared through it like a piece of gauze or something.
No.
You allowed to bring your own tools in for that part of the job, or
I'm
do you have to
gonna
use these?
I'm gonna ask about that for number 3. I'm like, can we get
Yeah,
creative with this?
OB. I'm going to say, like, can I bring like a sword in or something like that? I've got a really good bread knife. I'm a bit of a sourdough wanker, so I could take that in and just bring my German bread knife through.
Look, I would ask about doing all of that ahead of time rather than sort of surprising them.
Assuming on the day is turning up with like a bag of loose silverware and gardening tools. Being like, oh, what inspiration's going to strike on the day?
Just get like your butcher's vest all ready to go. Like you open it, like the classic out of the movies where they go, "Hey, you want to watch?"
I was going to say, what you're going full horror movie villain? Yeah, I was going to bring in my hockey mask as well for that.
Why not? Why not just? It doesn't have to be so serious all the time. Bring some theatre into it. Why not? That
So,
sounds-
are there corrections? Were there other corrections and apologies that need to be made?
No, that was the main thing. I remember recalling that I said that there was a narrowing of the cervix when we were worried about the child coming very early, but it was a shortening. I mean, that's a small correction, but I sort of picked that one up myself. I was like, I'm not sure if that was right. My old oopsie doodle is that some of my family found out via the podcast that my wife was pregnant.
Ooh, yikes.
I forgot to tell like a bit of a cohort there that she was pregnant. And so my bad. Shout out. Sorry about that, everyone.
So you were so much more reserved than me. Like I had to be actively muzzled throughout the week to not tell people. And then when I told people we were having the 13-week scan, which we did on Friday last week, and I want to talk about that a little bit tonight as well, people were shocked. They're like, hang on, you told me that you're having a baby like 6 weeks ago. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, you've got a tattoo. And I went, yeah. And they're like, that's too early. You don't tell people that because it's a high risk zone. Like, what are you going to have to go around and tell everyone bad news at some point? So I don't know. I get very, very excited about good news. So I have to.
That's good. Well, there's no.
I've been
harm in being-
informed. The magic wand that I was talking about as well. So it's called a Doppler. So I was talking about the tool that you can wave on the tum-tum, get a little view of baby's vitals and so forth. It's called a Doppler.
You just like poke your wife at any point and just be like, is it still alive?
Yeah. It looks very much like an ultrasound wand. And I think primarily it's for heartbeat. I'm actually double glad that we didn't get one now because it turns out for us, placenta is on the front.
There you go.
Top-down viewing or top-down, vitals. You can get it. You can pick it up. You need like a medical grade tool because there's something kind of,
in the way.
in the way. And so if we got one of those and tried to plug it in, it would be a very quick trip to the hospital.
Can't find anything.
Yeah, there's nothing there.
Oh, we're 3 for 3 with placentas on the front. We found out in the last fortnight that placenta's on the front again with this one, although there was potentially a feeling of some movement today, so that was exciting because I think we're at about 16 weeks. We're starting to head into territory of being able to feel things,
Nice.
but the frontal placenta will always delay that, and I think that can be a cause for anxiety sometimes. And
Yep.
in the last fortnight, had another check-in with the obstetrician and just a scan just for shits and giggles, and everything swimming, everything happy, head down already. They can flip around at any moment. The joys of it all and all the things, and always that pang of anxiety when you're like, well, hope it's still there.
That's horrible. That is just such a horrible and constant feeling. I feel a little bit better now that we're through the 13-week scan, and like that's a big milestone to achieve. And you go in there and you see it all and you hear it all, and it's you get 25 billion photos. It's are we talking? You don't have to if you don't want to, but I'm happy to share the gender of mine.
We don't know the gender of ours. And
That's right. You're not doing it. Yeah.
We're not gonna
Okay.
find
So
out.
I'm just gonna out with it. So we're having a boy. But that was the first thing she said, and I was like, all right, my lad,
rock
rock and
roll.
hawk. Yeah. And because she was just like, oh yeah, she's like, yeah, no, that's a boy. And I was like, all right. So no doubt about it. And she's like, no. And I was like,
My man.
right, my man. My man. I think maybe not tonight or during this episode. I don't think we've got enough time to talk about it, but I want to talk about, obviously a decision that gets made with young fellas and so forth, and a rather entertaining conversation I had with a friend about that, who's also offered to be a part of this, but she is maybe too intense even for you and I. Funny as hell, but hands down one of the most inappropriate people I've ever met in my entire life. And I've met some pretty shady characters. So lads on this end. Yeah, very, very excited about, little boy stuff. I mean, girls can play with trucks, boys can play with dolls if they want and all that kind of thing. But I think coming into it, one of the reasons it's so exciting is that on my wife's side of the family and on my side of the family, collectively, there has not been a boy for 29 years.
What?
Yeah, everyone's been pumping out girls. So,
Wow.
So my wife comes from a group of 3 sisters. She's only got nieces. The last boy on either sort of bloodline is my brother. And
Right.
he's 29 now, going on 30 soon. So I think I'm right.
We'll go through the corrections in episode
Closer.
3.
Yeah. His version of correcting me is a lot more aggressive than other people's. Those usually doesn't involve too many words. Brotherly love. So that's pretty exciting. And that means that everyone is going, and we've been pre-warned by not just people in the family, but those in the network. They're like, okay, this has got to be a spoiled little shit. Like you're going to have to really, really control the influx of things because, it's a new gender in the mix. So no one's, everyone's going to want to buy clothes and little cute things that match little baby boys and so forth. So it's kind of cool in some ways as well, because I think almost every guy that I've met that's grown up with a lot of women in their lives, particularly older and like we're very strong women on both sides of the family. So I'm hoping this little fella grows up with a very healthy respect for women, and then obviously I'll have to do most of the heavy lifting in passing that knowledge down. But yeah, it'd be nice to know that he's got plenty of strong women looking after him and yelling at him and telling him to stop being a pig and so forth.
That segues really nicely into what we wanted to talk about this episode in terms of preparing for life with a child. And there are little advantages to knowing the gender already. Little things here and there in terms of, I guess, if you want it to be color-coded appropriately in some way, if you buy into that stuff. Like for us, we feel like there are very few surprises left in life. So this is one of them that we're trying to maintain. Well, I had a moment the other day when I just had that moment of, oh shit, we're going to have a baby soon. And like, it's just been like, oh great, yeah, we got pregnant finally after so long. Everything's cruising along. And then we had a checkup during the week and in that checkup, they also booked in the birthing suite for us already.
Oh, wow.
And all the hospital stay. So all the paperwork started coming through. Like, oh my God, this is happening. I've done it twice before. I'm sure I can do it again. But it was sort of that quick reminder of, well, you're up for another couple of years of sleepless nights, my friend. And that sort of hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh no, that's right. We did that for a reason. And there's something out at the end of that. Have you had any moment like that yet?
I had a moment today, which is very ironic. You asked that question. And it involved, this is going to sound bad, it involved my dog.
Oh, okay.
Right? So like our house has had 2 adults, a pretty hyperactive dog, and a very old geriatric cat in it. So
right.
everything's set up for those life forms to be kicking around pretty comfortably. And I was in the kitchen, hungover, eating grated cheese out of the bag, and I threw a handful to Winnie, my dog, and she jerked her head up to catch it, and she hit her head on the underside of the table, or like on kind of on the corner, and she let out a little ooh, like, you know, it wasn't a yelp, or it was just like a, oh fuck, you know. And I went, fuck, okay, that's something to be aware of. And then I was almost like that Terminator scan through the room, and I went, oh my God, everything in here is death. Like there is nothing but sharp and hard and electrical items all within reach. And I look down and there's, you know, loose fucking extension cords like plugged into nothing, like poking out. And I'm like, you would actually struggle to keep a child alive in here, like in this house. And even to the point of sitting here and you know, we're on the video and people can't see the video and so forth. But behind me, there's a set of shelves that are essentially set up like a ladder, full of toys that I've collected over the years, bright, colourful objects, and that thing is rickety as shit because I put it together. And so there's parts of it where I was like, I finished putting this set of shelves together, and there was another bag of screws, and I just didn't know where they went, so I just put them in the bin. So I'm just waiting for this to just
fall over,
collapse at any point. Like if I open the window and a stiff breeze comes by, it sort of gently sways back and forth.
Oh no!
But it's all of these things that I go, okay, environmentally, we really got to get this shit sorted out. We've got an open staircase that goes down into our garage that I have nearly fallen into a bunch of times. Like just walking, not pissed. No, I'm just going about my daily life, and the cat like runs between your legs or something like that, which is also something I'm terrified of. I'm terrified about this cat. I'm going to quickly segue. I do not get on with my cat. I've never got on well with a cat. So his name is Sid, and I don't want to describe him as a shopping bag full of old KFC bones. But that's the level of affection I have. I pick him up. He's all greasy. He's always dirty. Like getting a cat was sold to me as it's a self-cleaning house ornament.
Right.
And we were living in Canberra at the time, and we didn't want to be living in Canberra, but we were there for work. And my wife said, we should get something for the apartment we're in. And I thought a fish, a plant, something like that. And but we end up with Sid. And it's my fault. Because I've never had a cat, and she said to me, "We'll go to the RSPCA. We'll rescue a cat. Because you've never had a cat. She's only ever had cats,
right?"
And so she goes, "You pick the cat. You can pick the one. You know, you find the one that you like the look of, and you pick him or her, and we'll bring it home." Fucking dud pick, right?
I hope Sid's not listening.
Oh, I hope he's listening, and I hope this is the trigger for him to move out. So I have this horrible fear of Sid sleeping on the baby, like horrible, like debilitating fear. And you know the most upsetting thing, speaking of pets, the dog. My wife's never had a dog, right? Yeah. She comes from a cat family. Her dad had a dog, but she didn't really have anything to do with it. But they're cat people. I come from dog stock.
Yes.
I got really excited to get a dog where we finally got a house that we could have a dog in. I got so excited about it. We met the dog because we got the dog from the RSPCA as well.
Yep.
And everyone should always try to rescue their animals. This dog and my wife, they're like soul sisters, right? And I was really excited. I'm like, cool, I picked the cat. Cat's a piece of shit. He hates me. He's a fucking grub. the dirtiest cat you ever meet in your life. Like tracks like dirt and mud through the house. Eats human food if you leave it out, and just screams and shits and carries on all the time. And I know the irony of the type of podcast we're doing with me complaining about that, but I was like, awesome, we're going to get a dog, and the dog will love me. No, the dog loves me, but I'm the other human.
Right.
So my wife is just like, a fairy tale princess surrounded by her woodland animals. We're all sleeping on there, and I'm just sitting at the end of the couch like the fucking gremlin of the house.
So
extra committed to be the kid's favorite.
So it sounds like you're well prepared for bringing a child into the world, or you're going to smother it with so much love because you finally want to find affection from something small in your house.
For any kind of love that I can get preparing for a kid. I realize there's a couple of steps to that. One's the environmental piece, and the other one is it's the mental game. Mm-hmm. Like it's kind of going, okay, there's some things that I'm afraid of, and being a bit of a secretly anxious individual, appearing quite cool and calm on the surface, and just being completely hysterical, very, very shallow under the skin, and very easily triggered by anything that would shit me off. And I'm like, okay, there's some things that I'm nervous about, like the cat sleeping on the baby's face, that I can prepare for and sort of stem that nervousness. And obviously the way I'm going to prepare for that is to eliminate Sid. But no, I'm not.
So is that a thing? Is cats sleeping on babies' faces a thing? Like I've heard that before.
They kind of like gravitate towards warm things. And we're in Tasmania, so it's kind of always cold here. And Sid is, I don't know, immortal. I assume he's about 90 human years old. Like he sleeps in really weird places. And I think if a cat was going to do it, it would be him.
Oh, no.
I don't know if it's an old wives' tale, or I'm so sorry to hear if anyone's actually gone through this. Like, I'm not making light of, but it's actually like a very real fear that I have.
Wow. See, we brought.
I said to my wife, I'm like, we'll just drive out to the woods and just chuck Sid out, and she's like, no, he hates you so much, he will find his way home.
Oh, yeah, we brought our firstborn, our daughter, home to a house that already had a dog in it. We were nervous, but she was already bigger than the dog when we brought her home, so there were no issues there. But in terms of preparing the house, that happened gradually. As soon as they could move, the best thing is when you can put them down and they stay there and they can't move, and that's it. You put them there on a rug or whatever, they're not moving anywhere. But as soon as they learn how to move, danger zone.
Yep.
You slowly start to escalate the cupboards that you have to lock, or the gates that you have to put up to stop them getting into places. Like I'm surrounded by IKEA cupboards that just like, guys, the rule is just don't climb them. They can comprehend that now that they can talk mostly, but when they're little things, when they're little babies, mate, they get into everything. I mean, even just the other day, my son spilt a bunch of hundreds and thousands onto the floor. I thought, I better quickly wrap them all up. He started eating them off the floor, just as is. He was like, no, I don't need anything. Don't need to put them in a plate or anything. I'm just going to lick them off the ground. I'm like, can we not do that? Quickly took a photo and then swept everything up. But have you thought about baby enters the world and you do that first drive home? Do you feel like you're going to be that nervous wreck with baby in the car?
I assume I will be. I very much assume I'm going to be that guy doing 20 in 110 zone on the way home. And like just hugging the shoulder of the road. Yeah,
just go past.
I have thought about that, and I've thought like in this horror scenario, I get home and I trip over, and because of Sid, genuinely is the horror story, and then I fall on the baby. Like that is like, and then parenthood's over. Like that's that's the nightmare scenario that is playing in my head. I've definitely thought about those things, but probably. I think, although I don't know if that's just the way my mind works, just being very risk aware, that's been the more dominant focus of this week is how do we prepare this obstacle course of poisons and sharps that is our current and steep drop-offs that is our house at the moment. So we're either going to have some kid who, is going to have to be like a like, what's that movie? Unbreakable.
Yeah.
It's just going to have to be like that. But chances are we're going to have a Mr. Glass situation.
I would counsel that it's probably 6 to 8 months before you need to worry about those things. As soon as they can move, that's when you start to panic. What will be your situation with when you bring baby home? Have you had that discussion of, are they sharing your bedroom for the first sort of 6 months? Because that's what we did with number 1 and 2, and we'll do with number 3 as well, is that there was a little bassinet next to the bed for the first 6 months. At 6 months, it was out the door into their own room. But
out of the house, move out, get a job. Yes. So in answer to your question, yes, baby will be in the bedroom. So we did a little bassinet situation there. Part of that is because, and you've never had a poke around in our house before, but our house is set up in such a way where you walk in the front door and the master bedroom's immediately there. And then the other bedrooms are at the other end of sort of the house, behind a door. And then there's sort of like a little square landing area that branches off into a bathroom and a like couple of bedrooms down there. So the kid will, I can stop referring to it as a sort of, he will be
the entity.
He will be eventually in one of those bedrooms, which makes like any kind of hearing of the rustling and so forth completely impossible without some kind of technology, of course. But there's also another reason for that, is that by having the baby sleep in your bedroom, it dramatically and scientifically reduces the risks of sudden infant deficit syndrome.
SIDS, yeah.
Yeah, SIDS, yeah. So it dramatically decreases it. So, if you could do something simple like that and not, there's no guarantees in this life, but if you can increase survival percentage, then
couldn't hurt.
Through a very simple thing outside of, this baby's annoying and wakes me up.
I mean, I hope there isn't any sort of irony in the name of your cat's name there in the condition.
Oh, God, I didn't think about that. Didn't even think about that.
Good luck.
Oh, no.
Sorry, I hope that doesn't send you into some sort of spiral.
Fuck. Oh, man. That's so bad.
You'll be fine. Oh. You'll be fine.
No. Right, the cat's going.
Well, I remember with our first, we got to 6 months and we were like, okay, I think it's time that she can move into her own room. They sound like they're dying most of the time when they're asleep. They make all sorts of choking and coughing and spluttering sounds when they're sleeping. Prepare yourself for that. When we decided, okay, it's time, we got to 6 months, we know that we're out of sort of that danger zone of self-sleeping, so we transitioned her to her own room. And when we had the monitor, so then you could, and there are 1,000 different monitors that will tell you all sorts of different things. We opted not to get one that would tell you the oxygen levels of the kid. They've got ones that can do that. Like, no, we don't need to know. If we can hear her breathing, it's all cool. We don't need any more anxiety in this house. With number 2, when we got to 6 months, we were like, yeah, get him out. He's fine. Put him in his own room. It's all good. Put the monitor on. We're all good to go. I remember there was always that moment as well when you wake up in the morning and you haven't woken up during the night, when they might have slept through, or in my case, I just didn't realize that the child was screaming overnight, and my wife, I got up 3 times last night. I'm like, I'm really well rested. I don't know what you're complaining about. You have all those moments, and you never know when they're going to happen, I think is what I would say. They just happen at some point and you go, oh, wow, okay, it happened. You'll never know.
Here's a fun fact. Here's a fun fact for you, right? And I bet you didn't think I was going to say this because there's no preparation.
That's what fun facts are all about.
As part of our preparation for the baby coming home, I am having surgery.
What?
Yeah. You didn't think I was going to say that?
No, I'm curious to hear about how this all ties in.
Yeah. So look, I am a shocking snorer.
Okay.
Right? I am full blown grizzly bear style, like fucking bad.
You're a wall rattler.
I am, absolutely. And it's because I have a horrifically deviated septum. So my left nostril doesn't work at all.
Oh.
Like just nothing there. It's always been that way. Like I was a snorer from like childhood.
Right.
And so I'd finally, and wifey actually pointed out to me and she said, look, because and this is, part of our relationship, it has been part of our relationship for a while. She has sort of sleep earplugs.
Yeah,
that she
right.
wears because it's that bad. She also has a bunch of other devices she wears as well. So those are going to have to go when the kid comes. So she's got, the fancy eye mask and the earplugs and the fucking hat and all that. It's like a whole big
that's going to be a
situation.
change. Yep.
Yeah. So obviously most of that can stay, but the earplugs, she doesn't want to wear them. She rightly pointed out, if the kid's in the room, kid's not going to be able to sleep if there's a black bear in here growling. And went to an ENT, and he sent me off for an MRI, and I knew it was deviate. Like I knew it was bad. Like because I just I've never been able to breathe out of it.
Yeah.
So if I get a blocked nose on that side, that's it. I'm mouth breathing. He was like, holy shit. Like this is like, he's like this. So he didn't say holy shit. He said the clinical term. He's just like,
oh dear.
Yikes. And he's like, okay, so this is what's going on in there. And he showed me like the nasal bone and everything. And he's like, yeah, that's bad. But he's like, I can fix it for you. It's going to be a good time, but it'll clear up your snoring. And I went, yeah, right. And he's like, yeah, so we're going to break this and we're going to move that. And he's going to like cut my nose and fucking bang it up there. And it's like, yeah, it's like a whole thing, right? So yeah, that's probably one of the bigger preparations for the kid coming home is in March. I'm getting a I don't know, like his break and all this kind of thing. I've got my, speaking of hospital paperwork, I have my hospital paperwork here. So yeah, it's a full on, hang on, I can tell you the actual name of it. It's here in the pile.
Septoplasty?
It is a septoplasty turbinates reduction.
Yeah, I've had that.
So yeah. So you've had that, have you?
Yeah, I have. Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yep. Turbinate reduction, septoplasty. Yep.
Yeah. Was that to address a deviated septum? I assume yours was from aggressive cocaine use rather than genetics.
Wasn't totally clear. I think
whether it was the cocaine or not.
I would have had it 15 years ago now. I think it was just I had sleep apnea. There you go. As like a 20-year-old, I'm like, isn't that an old fat man's disease? And they're like, yeah, but you've got it too. I'm like, nah, I'm not old.
So you would have had it around the same time as we met.
Yes, that's correct. Yep, that's right. Early uni days.
Yeah. Did it change your voice?
No, it did not. Yeah. You know what's really wild is that our daughter had her tonsils or adenoids out recently, and her voice tone changed. She actually had like the surgeon told us said, she's got quite a deep voice at the moment, and you'll find that she'll be really high pitched when she comes out, like compared. And her voice was completely different when she came out of that surgery. It genuinely freaked me out. And I found myself watching old videos of her talking just to remember. And I was like, "Ma,
hey, Daddy. Hey, Papa Bear.
Hey, Daddy, can you get me some Wheat Bix?
I'd like a bottle, please."
Not quite that bad, but that freaked me out. Like when your kids have to have surgery, oh my word. We'll save that for another episode.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. But that's hats off to anyone that's gone through the training to be a pediatric surgeon.
Man.
That's next level.
They're so small.
Too small, yeah.
And we will have to talk about the actual preparing for birth as well, because our daughter, there were complications when she was born, and I'm really happy to sort of share that later on. Yeah, in terms of preparing for the world, I'm glad to hear that you're going to breathe. You're going to be able to breathe out your face. That's always handy.
I'm excited about that. Very excited about the concept of that.
But then there's also are you going to have a super quiet house for the kid, just in general? Because like for us, we were vacuuming the house while she was asleep with our firstborn. We would watch TV with her in our arms and make all sorts of noise, and so she's never affected by noise growing up.
I very much plan to just have a normal noisy house. I'm by nature very loud, both in the work that I do, because I'm always pacing around on the phone.
Yep.
And as my wife says, screaming into the phone and sort of stomping through the house. And I'll be on the phone, but also doing something in the real world as well, like emptying the dishwasher, often called out on that by people I'm on the phone to. And they're like, what's that clanging noise? And I'm just emptying the dishwasher. So that, and I quite like the idea of just sort of like regularly and consistently, because we've often got music or TV or something on, just sort of maintaining that steady flow of sound in the mix as well. You were saying that you guys didn't stem any of that. You just did what you needed to do.
No, we just let, say la vie, we would just let noise be. And that worked out really well for us, where noise does not bother them anymore, except we will put a sign up at the front when our son is having his afternoon nap, which he still has, which is just the best, is do not ring the doorbell because the dog will go off, and that wakes him up and annoys him. And so that's when we're like, we just don't do that. It will wake him up, because they get excited about someone being at the door.
Yeah,
That's what they're just like, let's answer the door. There's a random person. Let's open it and say hello. I'm like, don't do that. Stranger, do you not understand? Stranger danger. Because they're such loving kids. They're like, we want to be friends with everyone. I'm like, yeah, well, let's just sort of temper that a little bit.
There's another topic we can talk about at some point, stranger danger.
Yes.
That's a really good point about the dog and the door knocking as well, because that's very on brand with our dog. She is a run, full pelt, full body weight launch into the door and just this high-pitched screaming bark. Yeah, and given that the bedroom that the baby's got to be sleeping in is our master bedroom right by the front door, I assume Winnie's, very, very pleasant way of alerting us that there is someone here, which we know. We know.
We're fully aware.
Yeah. To the point where I can be, so this is how reactive she is. I can be in my office and I can knock on my desk and she'll think it's the front door and just
go bananas.
Immediately go on the attack. She's very, very protective of the household, which is, in some ways good, but in other ways.
Well, you're gonna find out and discover that. You've just you've re-emerged in a memory in my head of when we brought our daughter home and those first couple of months, and when we were trying to work out what the bedtime routine is we were very consistent with bath, boob, book, and bed. So it was bath time, throw on the boob, read a little book, go to bed. And that's we've removed the boob from the process now, but with her at 5 years old now, that process is still exactly the same and has been every single night since she was born. And routine is fantastic. But I remember those early days of that she would fall asleep like on our chest watching TV. I don't know if you've seen it. There's a show called The Blacklist, and that's the show that we watched for the first sort of 3 months of her life. Is of the evening we would have dinner, we'd put the show on, and she'd fall asleep on us, and that was sort of the first sleep that she'd have up until maybe 11 o'clock at night, and that would be the first feed of the evening. And I have really quite warm memories about that. However, now having the other two and then throwing a third in the mix, it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes, because we just want to go to bed as soon as we can. We're like, let's just get some sleep. But we're going to have to start that routine of feeding throughout the night. And I'm hoping it's going to be muscle memory. And I feel like, fingers crossed, I'm already so tired from having two children already that I'll just add to the mix. Why not? What could possibly make anything worse? With tiredness.
Sounds like an excellent bedtime routine for any age, really. Bath, boob, book, bed. Sounds fucking excellent.
Why didn't I think of that? Or maybe I'll pitch that.
I'd take that as an adult man. Like, absolutely. So if my wife was like, right, this is what we're going to introduce for you to wind down at the end of the day,
why not?
I'm like, sign me up. I want to talk more about the preparing for baby coming home, but I think we're heading towards the little break here. So probably, since we've decided that what we're going to do is that each week we'll alternate in the segments. So our two segments so far being Word of the Week and How to Dad.
Of course, we've got a new intro song if you'd like to do the intro to the music, and then we will hear your Word of the Week.
All right, cue that music.
It's time for Word of the Week. It's time for Word of the Week. It's time, oh yeah, for Word of the Week.
Meconium.
Oh.
Which is the first sticky dark green stool of a newborn. And I'd heard all about the first poop, but I didn't know it actually had clinical terminology, and I didn't get to. I got deep in the rabbit hole of this. My Google AdSense is now very problematic.
Yep.
My Reddit code, like my Reddit page, is just full of baby shit now. But it's normal. Babies pass the meconium within the first 24 to 48 hours after birth, and the composition of this initial dump it's mostly water, but it also has what's called epithelial cells, fine hair, mucus, bile, and a range of other secretions. And that's how it gets its wonderful color. Very thick, sticky, and dark green dump made out of cells, hair, mucus, and bile. Is it meconium or meconium?
Meconium. Yeah.
Is it meconium?
It's meconium. And it's a wonder to clean up. If you have ever got like thick tar stuck on your body before and you just keep wiping?
I can't say I have. I can't say that I have.
When you see this black goo stuck to your child and you think, I've got to clean that, you run out of wipes. And you're just like, it just keeps, I can't, like, you need like a spatula to peel it off.
I think the closest thing that I've ever experienced that myself was I once, when I was super pissed, fell asleep on a packet of Tim Tams. That was it actually would have been around the time that we first met each other, and I was just like stumbled home. There was no food in the house at all except for like this half a packet of Tim Tams. So I took it home, and then I got into bed, and obviously I blacked out and rolled around on them. And the one that stuck on my back, I literally had to get it off with a spatula, like, because it was in the most awkward spot and I couldn't reach. I'm like, going off the wall, so I just got a spatula and like shamelessly peeled off this Tim Tam that was glued to my back. And anyway, meconium.
We'll be back after the break.
Life lived like a coin. Oh, my friend had a baby. Chaos joined the joy. Diapers on the dashboard.
If you enjoyed this podcast, consider leaving a review. It helps people find this podcast. Share with your friends or family. Love my daddy!
Diapers on the dashboard. Milk stains on the moon. He says he's drowning in love, but man, it came too soon. Bassline pounding, heartbeat. Wah-wah guitar scream. Parenthood's a dubstep drop, not some easy dream. Oh, my friend had a baby.
Welcome back to the My Friend Had a Baby podcast with Scott and Alex. Scott, let's drive into a How to Dad segment now. Last week you asked me a good solid question around how long, what was it? It was how long.
How old is too old for your kid to sit on your lap? I realized, like, as I introduced that segment and the question, I was like, I probably should have prepared a question. Like, if I'm gonna like dump a segment on your lap and be like, hey, let's try this. Like, maybe give it more than 2 seconds of thought in the moment. So I will plan things out a little bit better in the future.
I did. I recall talking about how I said to my parents, "Oh, do you remember the last time you actually held me like off the ground and cradled me in such a way?" And I got a shortly after the episode came out, I got a message from my mum saying, I think you'll recall all these scenarios. She's like, don't you remember me cradling you when your turtle died and you were like 12 or 13 or something like that? And I held you. I held you like the newborn baby that I remember you being. I'm like, well, Mum, I wasn't off the ground though, was I?
Of course you were a turtle kid. Like, how have I not made that connection? Like, an absolute, and of course it died. Like they live for like fucking ever, and somehow you've killed the unkillable
Don't
pet.
give me trauma, Scott. Yeah, like I was traumatized when Buzz, sweet Buzz, when Buzz died, and
So many people. Buzz. Fucking hell. So many people have responded to that line of conversation that in the same way that I did, where they were just like, "Oh fuck, he's about to say something really dark now, like about you being like, when's the last time you held me?" It's like, God, I'm talking about needing to have a kid so I can try and create some love for me in this house, and then you're trauma dumping in episode 1 about how your parents don't love you. Like, fucking hell.
they do love
Let's
you.
warm them up. Let's warm up the audience a little bit first. Like, Jesus.
Oh look,
Christ.
I think I'm playing the straight character here. You know, I'm just giving the facts out, and then just the occasional emotional dump doesn't hurt anyone, does it?
So far, episode 1, my parents don't love me. Episode 2, my turtle died.
Actually, I will say this: in all the feedback that I've had, it's like, oh, Scott's very funny, and then it's like, oh, and me, and they're like, oh no, Scott's funny. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right, cool. Thank you for that feedback.
Well, the feedback I've got is you're usually not that funny in real life.
Well, I mean, look, we're all growing together here, perhaps. That's sort of what we're going for. Anyway, let's not trauma dump on anyone any further. Scott, the How To Dad segment is, as we know, as is probably world-renowned now by episode 2, is a way of asking each other a question about things to do with dad life. The question I have for you this week, and it's I feel like it's on brand, or not on brand, or topical. That's what I'm trying to say. It's topical. Is how much media our children, our youth are exposed to these days. There's social media apps everywhere. Everyone's attached to everything. But what do you think will be the first movie you sit down and watch with your kid?
Oh, that's such a fucking wholesome question. That is so wholesome. You're definitely leaning into that Mr. Clean persona, aren't you? Like, compared to mine, where it's like, when do you start rejecting your child's love? And you're just like, what's going to be your first memory together of consuming media? What's going to be your movie with your kid? Well, I remember, and this is true, I very vividly remember my first memory of a movie was A Nightmare Before Elm Street. That was my first memory as a child of watching a movie.
Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah, you know Freddy Krueger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
So
that's your first movie that you remember seeing?
Well, I don't think it's probably not the first movie I watched, but it's the first movie I remember watching, like with the parental unit. So I'm going to need a minute to think about this. While I do that, you tell me, what was yours?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because the memory that stands in my head of watching a film with my parents was Jurassic Park 2. And I don't know why. I feel like I remember that's the first movie of going to the cinema.
So in the cinema. I was going to say, what, your parents didn't let you watch a movie until you were 14?
No. I saw plenty of films beforehand, but I remember the first cinema experience was Jurassic Park 2, I'm pretty sure, which would have been I'm going to say 1998?
Oh, no, 1997.
97. Oh, great
The
year
Lost
for films.
World. Yeah. So you would have been 9.
Something like
9-ish? You're 88, aren't you? You're 88?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God. Yeah, okay, so I was 9. So I remember I went to the Glenelg Cinema, and it was for a birthday party, and I remember that. And I remember that, I think also that year, all my peers at primary school were all going to see The Cable Guy with Jim Carrey, and I wasn't allowed to see it. I was like, no, they're like, no, you're not seeing that movie. It's not right for you.
But you go and watch all these like prehistoric lizards eat people.
That's perfectly fine. Don't worry about
fine.
that. I remember seeing The Lion King as a kid, but I feel like they were VHS releases when we saw them. By the time we saw them, I don't know if you've come up with an answer yet of what you want to watch together, but the movie that we watched together with our daughter for the first time when she could consume a whole 90 minutes of media and not complain about having to watch stuff for that long was Frozen. That's big in the household. That's an easy Sunday watch. Just throw that on. We actually sat down and watched it as well. I'm like, oh, it's actually quite a good movie. But I can assure you by the 30th time that you've watched it, you get a little bit tired of it.
All those Pixar and Disney, I mean, they're designed for repetitive consumption for kids. It's like, it's crack for kids. Like Tangled, I've seen that like 12 times and I don't even have a kid. And I've only watched it by myself like 4 of those times. But when the nieces have come over, the Tangled is sort of like a pretty popular one on rotation. I think we're in a world now where it's very different to when we were, exposed to our first movies. Because like you said, back then you were relying on VHS, going to the movies, and then whatever is on TV. So now it's actually, you can very clearly make the choice. I would like to nominate The Labyrinth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's a great movie. David Bowie, codpiece.
Tight pants, yep.
Tight pants, just heaps of crotch shots. Just so my boy knows what he needs to grow up to be is a David Bowie-esque.
Strange magician type character.
Yeah. But it's actually, that reaction does remind me that the movie is quite fucked up. So I probably should think about something else a little bit less.
Yeah, well, I mean, by the time your boy comes around and he's ready to watch a movie, there's a good chance that the movie doesn't even exist yet, that you're going to end up watching together invariably on Disney Plus or something like that. I guess the question is, I guess it can evolve in a ways, is what movie are you, when they're ready to watch it, of any genre or any rating whatsoever, when you feel like they're ready to be at that point to share that journey with them, we're like, oh, wait for this bit's really good. What is going to be that movie that you are excited to sit down with each other and share?
That's a tough question, because there's certain movies that I wouldn't want to introduce it too early. I want him to be able to understand what's going on in the movie.
Yeah.
So if I start age 3 Saving Private Ryan, like it's got to be hard for him to understand that Tom Hanks is having like serious like trauma moment with the whistling sound, and he's going to be like, Papa, what's that whistling sound? That's what.
Why is that man holding an arm and looking for his arm? It's very strange.
What are those little needles they're putting in the nice man's leg as he bleeds out?
Why did that man take off his helmet and then rub his head and then fall over suddenly?
I'd love to have some kind of romantic, beautiful answer for the first ever movie, but I assume it's just going to be
some sort of Disney thing it's
going to be some accidental, he sat through the whole thing kind of moment. And it'll be some kind of, Pixar-ish, Toy Story-esque sort of situation. Yep. And that's fine. Look, I'm fine with that. It's a kid. We don't need to be showing it like French noir. And expecting him to be able to process what's going on. But there's some classic American Beauty sort of movies that I'd be interested to see what his take on it is. But I'm also mindful that a lot of stuff that happens in those types of movies, it doesn't translate now. Like having a handheld camcorder and recording in plastic bags swirling around in the wind. He's going to look at that and be like, why does he have that camera? Why doesn't he just use his phone? Yeah. There's all these things that to be mindful of, because they're just not going to hit the same way as the first time we saw it. There's a very obscure movie that it is my favorite movie of all time. Not a lot of people have seen it. And I don't mean that as a flex. It's just like it deserves a bit more cred than it gets. It's called Interstate 60. And it's made by the guys who made Back to the Future.
I think I remember you pitching this movie when we were in uni together,
and I know you never fucking watched it.
No, I know the movie.
Type of person you are.
Nah, I know the movie. This is about the genie.
It's about the genie.
Yeah,
and it's got Gary Oldman, and it's got Kurt Russell, and like a lot of superstars made on a shoestring budget. Very funny, very but you can take it in a really lighthearted way. You can take it really seriously.
It's got a Michael J. Fox cameo.
Yeah. Like it's got all those. What's her name? Amy Smart and James Marsden and all that. Like, they were all in the mix. And so that kind of movie where you can take it multiple different ways, you know, like you can just take it as, it's a lighthearted sort of thing about a genie and that's the beginning and the end of the story. Or you can look at it and go, this is actually about human selfishness and, you know, being self-destructive in our own desires, and be a total wanker like me and go, yeah, this movie's deeper than it is. And then I'd reach out to the producer and be like, wow, this is my favorite movie. And they're like, really? It shouldn't be. The guy who made it, he's like, it's not even in my top 100. So I'd be curious about how he's going to interact with media like that. What about yourself? What's numero uno? What springs to mind?
I mean, I'm very probably cliche is that I'm really excited to share Star Wars when they're ready for that. But I am not at the point that I feel like they're ready for it just yet, because I want them to understand things, and like in us not finding out what the gender of our child will be, how there's surprises left in the world. I feel like there are movies where I want them to experience those surprises, like watching The Sixth Sense for the first time and discovering why that kept me awake as a 12-year-old. I don't know, because like movies have always sort of been my jam, and my wife's into them as well. I have watched enough Disney movies where I'm ready to throw them into some legitimate trauma of adult films, more than G-rated films.
Still.
Like, it's like, have you heard about the Bates Hotel? And I just hope they share that passion. And I guess that's sort of a fear as a dad, is like, what if my kid just hates everything that I'm into?
Oh, totally.
Like, what are we going to do?
But I'm also, my fear is that I'm going to make things shit by being too into it and ruining it for the kid. Like, so it's interesting you bring up Star Wars, right? So I enjoy movies, but to me, music is the equivalent for our household as movies are for you. As a kid, I was obsessed with Star Wars, right? Super obsessed with them. I had the Lego, I had the I had the poster. I'd seen the movies like a bunch of times each. We had the first 3 on VHS. I have not watched those movies since I was about 12, and I've seen none of the new ones.
Okay.
And I know they're great movies. Like I know deep down that they're fantastic movies. But the thing with that is when I look back at when I was watching those movies, my uncle introduced me to those movies, and I was like, okay, they're old people movies, and I'm cool for liking them. But then as I became a teenager, I was like, I'm not into that old people shit anymore. Like, and then it became uncool to like Star Wars because the older people in my life were into it. So I'm a little bit nervous about wrecking things, even though like I have no right to claim this as my style of music. But, the Stones and the Beatles and Zeppelin, and I'm worried about ruining that because I was the outlier in the family. I think, like, as a generation, like being super obsessed with music, and music was kind of my thing, I suppose. Like, my sister and my brother are into music as well, but probably not at the same level of intensity that I am. So I'm worried that I'm going to, the kid's going to grow up and the Beatles are going to be playing. And of course, the entire way through finding out that my wife is pregnant, including going to the OB and going to the masturbation station and just randomly on the radio or in the supermarket or wherever it might be, Here Comes the Sun, played constantly. It just could not avoid this fucking song. It was everywhere. And we're like, well, that's obviously his song. But then, like, is he going to grow up and go, like, that's just a shitty, annoying song. Like,
whatever.
That's my fear, is kind of getting, like, jamming it down their throats and saying, well, I like this, so you have to like it as well.
We haven't done it for a while now, but every morning we would have the request from our daughter to go, can we play Welcome to the Jungle?
Tune.
So we had to, and I was like, oh mate, I'm ready to go. Let's start this morning right, 6:30 in the morning. Let's fire up. We'd have to introduce her as well. So we'd start the song, it starts with that echoey guitar, and she would hide around the corner in the hallway, and we'd have the music out in the dining room. And so we'd introduce her, and she would run out to Welcome to the Jungle, and it was just the most gorgeous way to start the day when they're into that sort of stuff. Of course, now we mix that in with all sorts of Bluey music and
So you
Frozen
got, like,
music.
Blues, you got Bluey and Frozen, and then there's just like Gunners right in the middle. Welcome to the jungle.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're just like, oh, you gotta do the drums now. Yeah, do the drums, do the guitar. And she gets totally into it. Our son just cruises along for the ride. He's like, yeah, I'm into it. If I can dance too, sure, no worries. So then you discover at an early age that doing it right before bedtime, very bad idea. Very, very bad idea. Talking about music, though, we would play music in the lead up to, in the last sort of after the first trimester, second, third trimester, we'd be playing plenty of music with close to my wife's tummy so that baby could hear it, because they can, I'm going to be totally corrected on this at some point, but they can hear at some point during gestation. Talking to them as well is really important. Then they get used to...
If you can hear the baby's heartbeat with the wand and you can see the baby pushing through, I mean, skin is not steel.
No.
So I assume there's like sound that's penetrating.
Yeah.
Like especially if you're in a nightclub or, you know...
At the pub for the fourth time that week. I hope you love the sound of the pokies. That's the thing that helps them get to sleep. Hang on, we've got to play the Dragon 100 tune again.
Got to get the dolphin treasure on. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Bling, bling, bling.
Put him to sleep that way.
Baby comes out. Get out of the slaps, Dad. Get on the Bricky's laptop.
Can you get a multi?
Multi. It's free, guys. Free spins.
Oh, free spins. Sorry.
Learn how to be a degenerate.
I don't know how to gamble, all right?
Oh, man. I know it's a taboo thing to say, but fuck, it's good. It's good fun.
What a perfect...
I get why people do it. Like, I get it. Like, it's fucking excellent. When you're winning, Jesus, it's great. When you're losing, you're like, oh, I'll just come back tomorrow.
What a perfect spot to wrap up the podcast for this week.
There's plenty more pension checks to steal. Also, should preface the end of this by saying that is not how to prepare for your child to come in the room, to get him into the gaming room and get him in front of the Shogun.
I wonder if a paramedic's ever had a phone call to go to a pokey room to...
No doubt there would have been. Absolutely zero doubt in my mind because, God, those lights they bring in. Like, no.
Were you a moth in a former life? Is that potentially... Very good.
Yes. No. Let's stop there before it gets super dark.
Well, on that note of gambling and hopefully not throwing away too much money, I don't know how that even segues. What a terrible segue. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share with your friends and family. Oh, by the way, Scott, we've got like a heap of 5-star reviews so far. Obviously, we've
drowning in 5-star reviews. In fact, I would describe it as an embarrassing amount of 5-star reviews for other podcasters out there. Real threats on the scene here.
If you'd like to, be sure to leave us a review and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can find the My Friend Had a Baby podcast streaming wherever you find your podcast. And Scott, I think we should, if we have the energy or time to do so, we will get the socials all set up. So if you'd like to send in a question or a comment or anything, you could contact us via those channels. So thank you for listening, and we will see you in the next episode. We'll see you next week.
Cannot wait. Thank you, everyone, for your support today. It's been really, really lovely.
All right. Good night, Scott. Catch you later.
And for all you tired parents out there, just remember, turkey in the oven, baby in the crib.